Felicitations, malefactors, and welcome to SpinebusterTV Unpacked. We have made it to episode 2. Who'd have thunk it? My name is Connor Bailey, the vanilla latte of professional wrestling, co-commentator for SpinebusterTV, and I am joined by my commentary compadre, my co-host, the north to my south. It is, of course, Lucy Simons. Lucy, thank you so much for joining me here once again. Let us get going. Yeah, we have got an absolute jam-packed episode here for you. Thank you so much for joining us here on this lovely evening. As per always, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please throw them into the chat. We would love to engage and comment. Let's get a big discussion going. And this is a very, very big episode because, Lucy, we have got our very, very first interview segment as part of Unpacked, and we've got some huge announcements to be getting on with, haven't we? Absolutely. Absolutely. Without further ado then, so just before we get into the interview, let us quickly just kind of, like I said, engage, comment, let us get into it. So the first thing we will do before we set off is we will introduce our interviewee. He is a British wrestling legend. He is a man who has been part of the grind. He is a man that you know and love. We are introducing, of course, the East End Butcher, Shah Samuels, who is here live. And
oi! How are you? Everyone good? Connor, Lucy,
good,
hope you're well.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, sir. Thank you.
No problem, no problem.
How are you doing this fine eve?
I'm doing great. Sun was shining earlier. I've got a nice cold can of Diet Coke. I wish it was a beer, but hey, I'm in training. Some big matches coming up.
Wednesday evening.
Need to look after the old belly. You know how it is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Shah, you have got your open challenge coming up, as you announced on your promo that we saw last week. Obviously, we will be getting into that open challenge in a little bit, and we'll be revealing live who you will be fencing.
Can't wait.
But before we get into that, obviously, this is a nice chance to talk to you about the grind thus far. And of course, leading up to this open challenge, as you mentioned in your promo, your most recent match with Ted Sabin, obviously there was a little bit of a situation at the end where Ted Sabin did have his foot on the ropes after this humongous spinebuster, sir. What an amazing spinebuster that was, making that cover there. And
fair play to Ted, he got his foot on his rope. That was great ring awareness, and for someone with that little experience, I was surprised, and he showed a lot of heart. So I'm gutted. I'm gutted to what happened and what Joey did. I'm still, kind of ticked off about it to this day. I mean, thank you for telling me, Connor. Thank you for being a grass. Now, I don't usually like a grass, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I gave you quite a lot of stick for that last time, didn't I, Connor? But, I guess it's better that you found out that way, Charlotte, at the time, rather than finding out, weeks later when you watched it back, I guess.
Exactly, you're spot on. You're spot on, Lucy. And also, for Joey's development, I mean, he's still a young kid. If he wants to get far in this business, he can't be doing stuff like that straight off the bat. You know what I mean? So he's got to kind of, look himself in the mirror and ask some questions of himself.
And particularly as well, Shah, I'll be interested. Obviously, you addressed it a little bit in the promo that you very kindly gave. But in terms of that victory to you when Sabin's foot was on the ropes and the push, what did that kind of mean to you, kind of person? Because obviously you've been in this business for such a long time, and obviously you pride yourself on being one of the very best. So when Joey, whether well-intentioned or not, interfered, what did that actually mean for you?
It was an insult. It's an absolute slap in the face for all the years of graft I've put into this business, into this job, all the pain I've put myself through. To think I need help from someone that inexperienced, if I lose, I've lost plenty of matches, and if I would have lost to Ted Sabin, I would have dusted myself off and got on with it and got on to the next match. This business is all about wins and losses. But the fact that he insulted me in that way was a real big slap in the face. You know, I mean, to be honest, I didn't want him out there in the first place. You know, he's following me around like a lost dog, and then he gets involved in my business. If Ted got his foot on the rope, if Ted would have kicked out, I still would have won the match. You know, I'm very confident in my abilities, and I've been around. I've been to some places. You know, I know what it takes to win a match. I don't need help from a punk kid who needs help wiping his own nose.
I mean, yeah, understandable. I can sense the annoyance coming through the screen. So
I make no bones about it. Sorry to cut you off, Lucy. I'm going to say this, right? May 15th in Margate. I've been on the phone to Joey's mum, and I've said, Joey's staying at home. You don't let him out. You ground him. All right? He stays in the house. You know, he does some chores around. He helps you out. Does the hoovering. He might cook you a nice meal. But he ain't going to be on Margate on May 15th. This is strictly for me. I'm taking care of business by myself. So I need to show everyone at SpinebusterTV that I don't need no help from no punk kid, and I can get the job done by myself.
I mean, that's an interesting development. So he's definitely not going to be in Margate.
No.
So, okay.
Mrs. Slade said he will not be there. He's grounded.
Mrs. Slade. So speaking of Margate, then you obviously already hold one medallion. This is going to be a time limit match. So do you feel any pressure with that stipulation?
Pressure? No. I'll tell you why, right? There's no pressure anymore, because to be involved in this business, and it's a lesson to all you young wrestlers out there, this business is built on high-pressured situations. It's pressure non-stop. As soon as you come through that curtain, it's pressure. Tying up your boots, it's pressure. You know, it's pressure everywhere we look. Pressure to talk, pressure to look good, pressure to win a match, a pressure to get paid, a pressure to not hurt yourself. It's constant pressure 24/7 in this game. So if it's pressure to me to have a match, I ain't feeling any kind of pressure, all right? I've been in this situation hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, all right? Zero pressure on my end.
That is a big motivational statement there. So, Mr. Samuels, we will not keep you in suspense any longer. Me and Lucy are very proud to announce here on SpinebusterTV Unpacked at May the 15th at the TPW Academy, it will be Shah Samuels versus Connor Mills.
Whoa, I nearly swore. I
was going to say, Shah, let's hear your initial
I didn't. I said, for what? Wow. Well, you know, I said I want to prove myself against the best, and in my opinion, Connor Mills is the best in the UK, if not Europe, right now. In my opinion, he's smashing it every time he's in that ring. He's the hardest hitting athlete over here. So talk about throwing me into the deep end. This is going to be a war, you know. And my age, you know, I'm happy I've got this match. But at my age, I don't know how many more of these wars I got left in me. So it's going to be an interesting one in Margate. If I've got to make a statement on May 15th, because Connor Mills truly is the man, in my opinion. You ask any of the talent up and down this country, they work for Spinebuster or not, they'll tell you the best in the country is Connor Mills. So, talk about a challenge.
Lucy, I don't know about you, but I just seen that immediately. I'm so excited to call this match. This is going to be a great one.
Yeah, what a match that is going to be.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm a bit lost for words, all right? Cool. This is what I wanted. Like you said, 100%. Do I feel any pressure? This is pressure. This is high pressure, and I thrive off it. Okay, May 15th is going to be a special night.
So will Connor Mills in his grind debut be able to topple Shah Samuels, or will Shah Samuels, medallion in hand, be able to get a second one and work his way to the Underground Championship? We will see on May 15th. Shah, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, team. See you on May 15th. Have a good evening.
See you there. See you in Margate.
Take care, Shah. Thank you so much. And that was the East End Butcher, Shah Samuels. Lucy, Shah Samuels versus Connor Mills. I mean, that is going to be a hard-hitting affair.
Yeah, to say the least. And I just want to say, we got through that live interview almost without a hitch. I understand that people couldn't hear me at the start. Sorry about that. But, wow, yeah. And also, he didn't swear or win. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, wow.
Everyone's winning. There's been a big match announcement. We've got your sound back. Literally, all we do is win on this podcast, and all the audience is doing is winning by learning this. But yeah,
absolutely.
no,
Exclusive interview, exclusive match announcement, and it's not even, we've barely even started.
People probably haven't even had their dinner yet, and they're getting all of these fantastic announcements. Alongside fantastic announcement, you can also get fantastic deals. So obviously we've stated, I try. I very much try. Obviously, £5 a ticket to come and see Spinebuster TV live at the TPW Academy in Margate on May the 15th. But it could be even less than £5 if you use the promo code Unpacked, which is for 25% off your ticket. It helps save you money. It also shows that you like what we do here. And obviously, we've made it to episode 2. We would love to see an episode 3 as well. So please use code Unpacked for 25% off on your ticket. May the 15th is going to be a fantastic, fantastic time. And obviously, the weather's nice. Come and spend a day at the beach as well. It's going to be a fantastic time there. So that's a first big announcement, all wrapped up, all wrapped done. But Lucy, we have got another announcement. We've got an announcement of another match, and like this next match announcement is going to be absolutely. We've got so much to unpack. Literally, it's the title of the show, but we've got so much to unpack with this next match. It is a scramble match for a Cerberus medallion, a gold medallion. It is Brendan White versus Elijah versus James Taylor versus Jordan Breaks versus Denzel Mack. I mean, there is so much that we can talk about, and we will talk about in this one. I mean, where to start with this one?
Just the mass of people on that graphic that we just saw, really speaks for itself. I just thought this show couldn't get any bigger, and it just did, literally, like physically. This is definitely going to be a clash of styles. I think there's lots of different wrestlers in this one, and a lot of creative wrestlers. So I think you're going to have your work cut out for you on play-by-play, trying to call the action with this. And I think we're going to lose our breath on commentary. That's the initial impression I get from this one, with the type of people that are in it.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we're going to have to bring water and lozenges, I think.
Yes.
For this one, this is going to be something. Let's dissect this a little bit more. Let's talk about each wrestler. Let's go into depth where they are and what this match means for them. Let's start off with sorry, I almost dropped something there, but smoothly recovered. Let us start with Elijah. And now Elijah, of course, is already holding 2 medallions as part of the grind. He defeated Jack Landers in what was an amazing contest. Obviously, that was incredible. What was so good was him versus Emerson Jane as well. Lucy, we've talked about the creativity of Elijah, not just a veteran, but one of the most innovative members of the roster, that crucifix driver.
Wow.
Beautiful as of anything. Obviously, with Elijah, it could be argued in this match, the match with the most amount of competitors in there, he's got so much to gain, but yet so much to lose in this one.
Yeah, 100%. And this match, the scramble being one fall to a finish, you don't have to be involved in the finish to lose the match. So, yeah, it definitely has everything to lose. And if he gets pinned, he doesn't want to lose those medallions. He's worked so hard to gain them. And that gold one being the last that he needs. I'm not sure how... I don't think I've ever seen him in this type of match before, so I don't know how well he's going to adapt to it, but I'm sure, based on what I have seen, he seems very adaptable. And I think that determination to capture the final medallion is probably the determination that he needs.
And as you've mentioned, for him, obviously, getting a pin is important in order to get that medallion. What's even more important for him is to not get pinned, because if he does, that's all 2 medallions gone. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stakes for Elijah. He will need to be on his toes, particularly when he has got a behemoth, a giant, an absolute monster of a man as part of this match. It is, of course, the workhorse, Brendan White. Lucy, just seeing him and Jay Joshua fight it out. We were there when these two were absolutely laying it in on each other. Legitimately one of the biggest matches, both figuratively and literally, I think I've ever seen live.
Yeah, and you just get that impression merely from the highlights. If you've not watched that match, definitely go back and watch it. That was a great match and definition of hard hitting. It doesn't get much more hard hitting than that. And I think it was, well, I'm pretty sure I said this on the last stream, but it's still true. Like Big E once said, big meaty men slapping meat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a lot of meat on the table for this one. Obviously, we will continue going through, but while we have a little break here with this match, please send in who you think will be the winner out of this one. Again, we would love to hear from you. We would love to talk about it a lot more. Like everyone in the chat,
hearing your predictions.
Yeah, let's get hearing your voices. Obviously, joining us for all of this, we would love to hear from you. So continuing on with the amount of people in this match now, not to spoil anything too much, but Lucy, this might be my prediction for maybe a winner of this match. One of the most technically gifted wrestlers, one of the I'm just gonna say one of the best. It is, of course, Jordan Breaks. We see previously taking on Brendan White. Jordan Breaks, I've seen wrestle for multiple years now. It's the most recent thing I think I've seen him was him versus Kanji at the Pro Wrestling Ceasefire matches. Those were fantastic. I remember seeing him firstly in Riptide years ago, and the technical soundness of him, you just see that using his neck bridge to avoid that crucifix pin there, just managing to get out of it. He is a man who knows as many maneuvers as I've had hot dinners, and like I've had a lot of hot dinners in my time. I really do.
So you're saying that you're old?
yeah, absolutely. I really do think that Jordan Breaks could potentially squeak one out here just because of his technical ability.
Yeah, I mean, I loved seeing that video of him doing the bridge. I love a bridge. That's like one of the best, most underrated things in wrestling. Like a beautiful bridge, love it. But you saw him up against Brendan White in that clip, so you know these two, they have history. They're meeting again in this match, so let's see how that's going to play out. I mean, I think that Brendan White, he's a strong man, he's a hard hitter, but also he's got some technical prowess too. So it would be interesting to see. I think I've already mentioned like the clash of styles in this one. It's very evident just between these two before you even count everyone else. So when you put that dynamic of it being, you know, like we've already mentioned, a scramble where it's one fall to a finish. If Jordan Breaks can maybe use a quick roll up, steal the win, use his quick thinking, his technical ability. Yeah, I think you could be right there.
100%. Another component of this match is making his debut for Spinebuster, for the grind, training at the DKW Academy and Playfight as well. Shout out to Playfight in London. I am going to say he is probably one of the best all-rounders, and he is making, you know, I know it's a cliche term, making big debuts, making big waves on the scene. It is Denzel Mack. Honestly, to see him in person is a joy. To see him wrestle in person and to see him be part of Spinebuster, it's going to be incredible. And I really do think he, in himself, like all of these men, I could see feasibly winning. And Denzel, I think, has got a point to prove here too.
Yeah, in your debut, it's obviously you want to make the biggest impact possible. And certainly this is a brilliant opportunity for Denzel Mack to do that. I've never seen him wrestle before, so I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the table.
100%. And that's, as the old librarian has alluded to, it's such a mesh of styles from these competitors. But I would also say, not just in terms of styles, but also in terms of kind of like wrestling locations and origins. Like you've got some of the best wrestlers in Wales taking on some of the best from London, and these real meshings of combinations that you thought you would never see before. And just to see them taking on, it's things that you never really thought about until they actually come into fruition. And it's an absolute joy to see.
Things you didn't know you needed until you got it.
Until you got it. And the final factor of this match is I'll tell you a little story. I first saw this man in a village hall in Swindon in the mid 2010, like 2017, 2018. There was literally a dozen people here. But now he is performing for WXW. He's performing for Pro Wrestling Holland. He is putting on a hell of a year. 2024 was a great year for this man. I'm sure 2025 is going to be similar, if not more. It is the tailor-made man, James Taylor. And I think out of all of these men, he is the one with the most, I would say probably the biggest chip on his shoulder. And that can get you far. And I will definitely be interested to see where James Taylor goes from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another factor in this huge match with count them. I'm counting 5 wrestlers who have all got a lot to play for, and it's all on the line. So I think everyone's going to bring their A game, and I'm really excited. Again, James Taylor, someone who again is quite innovative and also technical. So yeah, it's a mix of everything, every style of wrestling you could possibly want in this. Everyone's got levels of experience, like James Taylor, you mentioned, world traveled. They all bring something unique to the table, but they've also got that experience behind them. So it's anyone's match, really.
Anyone's match. And as you alluded to, Lucy, it's one of those things of like, you never knew you needed this until it comes into reality. And with these matches, like 80% of matches happening on Spinebuster TV are first time evers.
Yeah,
so it just
absolutely.
goes to show the amount of combinations that are happening of this match, and to see this match live, all of these matches live, whether they're first time evers or whether it's ones that have happened years apart from each other, they're all going to be such a fantastic quality.
Absolutely. And I mean, for £5 or even less, like it's absurd. It's absurd. You need to get your tickets right now.
Get your tickets right now and come to Margate to see some fantastic wrestling. Now, we have also got, speaking of fantastic matches, this next one I am particularly excited about. It is headbutts versus head kicks. It is Chantel Jordan versus TK Cooper.
Wow.
We had a little bit of a carve tease, a little bit of a little supplement, a little bit of an entree last time here on Unpacked, where we knew that Chantel Jordan would be competing. And now we can finally confirm that it's going to be Chantel Jordan versus TK Cooper. Again, another first time ever. Like, Lucy, this one's going to be a physical one too.
Yeah, 2 of the most popular, successful, well-known wrestlers. I mean, I want to say in the UK scene, but not just in the UK, across the globe. So, wow, what a treat this is going to be. I'm so excited. And again, it's another one that's so hard to pick a winner. 2 wrestlers who bring so much to the plate. But, Chantel looking to pick up that Kronos medallion. She lost against Jay Joshua in that Iron Person match. Like we've already talked about what a brilliant match that was a couple of weeks ago. So there's a lot to play for her. I'm excited. I'm so excited. That's all I can really say.
Same here. And speaking of Chantel Jordan, I've used my investigative journalism skills, and I've managed to get a little interview with Chantel Jordan.
Way.
I know how to get all the scoops, Lucy. They call me the ice cream man because they call me the ice cream man because I've got all the scoops. After that bad pun, I was able to catch up with Chantel Jordan earlier this week and talk about her upcoming match with TK Cooper. Let's throw it over to the interview and see what she had to say. I am joined here by a pillar of Spinebuster TV, currently holding 1 medallion to her name. You know her very, very well. We all love her here at Spinebuster TV. It is, of course, the bad girl, Chantel Jordan. Chantel, thank you very much for joining us here today.
No worries. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So obviously we will be talking about your upcoming match at the Spinebuster live show on the 15th of May against TK Cooper. It's going to be headbutts versus head kicks, I'm sure, with that match, and we are all very, very excited to see it upcoming at the TPW Academy. But before we get into that, I think this has been a good chance to talk to you about essentially the grind so far, your time at Spinebuster thus far, leading up to this upcoming match with TK Cooper, and just talking about everything that's happened and transpired. So probably the best place to begin is your match with Jay Joshua, that Iron Person match, which myself, my colleague Lucy Simons, and many, many members of the Spinebuster TV fan base have said is arguably one of the best matches, not just within Spinebuster, but legitimately one of the best matches we've seen ever. Certainly one of the best Iron Person matches there. Now that the dust has settled from it, there's been a little bit of time from that. Obviously, that ended up in a loss for you. Would you be able to give any reflections that you had on match, particularly because it was such a hard-hitting affair?
I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Like, that match literally took me to the limit. Like, I've never really done 20-minute time limit matches before, and that one was just like, it was very tough, hard hitting, but I managed to get through it. And obviously, I see JJ as like a brother to me. He's always looked after me in like the wrestling business and stuff. And yeah, we just went through that. It was crazy.
Like, honestly, I think between you two, obviously, you have fought against each other so many times, but you've teamed up together so many times, whether it's against Big Man Inc. or kind of like helping each other out with kind of any affairs within Spinebuster. Would you be able, you've obviously kind of talked more about it, but what does that kind of relationship mean, this kind of like bonded by battle relationship that you guys have? Because when we saw you guys say you are friends, but looking at that match, it seemed like you were bitter enemies the way you were just laying into each other like that.
I don't even know how to explain it, to be fair. Like, we're friends, but like, I don't know, it's kind of like a brother and sister rivalry. Like, we like to like beat each other up sometimes and then we'll be fine. Just kind of like that, really. It's one of them.
Absolutely, and obviously that came into effect as well when you lost that match. Obviously, that was one of JJ's last medallions to get for that title match between himself, Millie McKenzie, and Joseph Connors. Obviously, you and Rio came in clutch, getting Riley Nova out of there. In terms of that, kind of how much of an impact that kind of like had during the chaos, would you have any comments on that time of Joseph Connors winning that championship belt and the fact that Riley Nova still managed to get involved in that match?
To be honest, I don't really like understand why Riley Nova got involved. Like, he should have just stayed out of it, and that is why obviously me and Rio came out, because there's just no need for it. And obviously I'm gonna look out for JJ. Of course, like I've got his back. Obviously, we're still teaming and stuff, so that's all I can really say on that, to be honest.
That's completely
it's just unfortunate.
It is, yeah. It's obviously that was such a kind of lead up to that match. So the fact that you and Rio managed to clear Riley at least for a little bit, but Joseph Connors obviously the underground champion, and after that, it's you're rebuilding towards that championship opportunity.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have now got a Spartan medallion taking on Joey Slade. Obviously, that most recent match with Joey Slade. I was wondering if we can get your comments on that match, because Joey is obviously a fighter in itself, but obviously you've got a decent record against Joey. Would you be able to comment on that match you had with him there?
To be honest, I didn't really take that match that serious up until he started like having some fight in him, and then I was like, okay, he can actually do something. But obviously I came out on top, so
yeah.
Sorry, Joey.
I'm sure he would appreciate that.
I'm sure he would.
So obviously that is one medallion get regained for you as you start to kind of climb your way back up to that trifecta. This upcoming match with TK Cooper is obviously a Kronos medallion match. The only other time you've had a Kronos medallion match, a time limit match, was against Jay Joshua, which you were unsuccessful in. Obviously, without giving away too much in terms of kind of game plan, would you be able to say where your mindset is, obviously being unsuccessful in that match type previously going into this one? Are you still fairly confident with the time limit aspect coming up against TK Cooper?
I think I'm still fairly confident. Just this time, I'm going to go in more guns blazing at the start. Because I feel like against Jay Joshua, I didn't really. I kind of like took it a bit slow at the start, but this time I want to go straight into it. And hopefully, I'll win it this time.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And obviously, this is going to be the first time you're facing up against TK Cooper. Yeah. Obviously, like I said at the beginning, headbutts versus head kicks. I am expecting that to be a lot of physicality to it. I guess in terms of is there a specific game plan you're going in against TK, particularly if it's going up against someone that you've never faced before?
Maybe just to avoid the headbutts, to be honest, and then I'll be all right.
That's always a sensible tactic.
Probably just batter, like just literally just beat him up. I keep kicking him.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that game plan is just as good as any. And obviously with Margate, TK Cooper obviously linked with the TPW Academy so much. In a way for TK, this match happening in Margate is almost like a home game for him because within that carve community. For you, does that change your carve mindset? Does that change anything, knowing that you're potentially going into somewhere where your opponent is feeling a lot more comfortable and considers it home?
Not really, to be honest. Like I said, I've done it before. I've gone into multiple places where it's not my home and I've showed out, so I don't think it'll be any different, to be honest. Obviously, he might perform a lot better, but I'm just going to come out just on top.
100%. And then, obviously, depending if you are successful with this match coming up for this Kronos medallion, that would mean that you are back to a stage where it's just one more medallion that you need to get. For you, in terms of the grind, in terms of consistently fighting to get these medallions, is there any other kind of mindset that you're going to have in order to achieve all three of these? Because it's obviously, you've been in this position before where you're so close to getting the final one, but you've just come short. What do you think will be different this time?
I'm just going to keep training, keep working hard, and just keep fighting for it. Like, I don't feel like there's anything much that I need to change. Just maybe I don't know, just keep fighting for it, really, and just keep working hard, and then I'll get there eventually.
Fantastic. Well, Chantel, on the 15th of May, it will be you versus TK Cooper in a time limit match for the Kronos medallion. I don't suppose you've got any other statements that you want to say to keep TK here before you guys meet up?
All I have to say is I'm going to kick the shit out of him. Sorry for the swear word.
It'll be post-watershed plus.
That's all I have to say.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Chantel, thank you very much, and I wish you luck on the 15th of May.
No worries, thank you.
Chantel Jordan versus TK Cooper. It's going to be a fantastic one. Obviously, the last time we saw TK Cooper as well, it was him and Chuck Mambo versus Medusa Complex in what was an absolute wild tag team match where they beat each other up all around the streets, the kind of like all around the local area. I think all of Birmingham really knew that two teams were fighting off against each other. But for Chantel specifically, obviously, as alluded to in the interview, Chantel is kind of going through her rebuilding process. That victory against Joey Slade was that first step, but now, obviously, this time limit match against TK Cooper is on the next step for her rebuilding it. Lucy, in terms of her rebuilding that medallion collection, she's obviously been on 2 medallions before, but as we've mentioned, as part of the grind, it's so hard to get back up to that point. So for Chantel, it's going to be a big match to get back to contention for that Underground Championship.
Old Librarian, yeah, you're spot on. That venue's just going to echo with the sounds of kicks and headbutts. So true. Yeah, absolutely, Connor. You're so right. I feel like that must feel like a roadblock for wrestlers in the grind. You work so hard and you get so far. And then in the end, it doesn't matter because you lose them all.
That's such an original. Oh my God, Lucy, you're such a philosopher.
What can I say? I'm a poet, aren't I? But yeah, you get so far and then you just oh, I don't have any now. I can't imagine that feeling of starting from scratch and how just demoralizing that is. But I think for some wrestlers that they might find that difficult to bounce back from, but for other wrestlers, it might spur them on even further. Like, I've done it once, so I can do it again. So let's just try again. I think that Chantel Jordan is one of the latter wrestlers. I think that it's going to spur her on to go all the way this time.
100%. As we have mentioned time and time before, the reason why the grind is such a unique and it's such a good format and all kind of like it's such an enticing prospect for professional wrestling is because every win and every loss matters. You can clearly see where wrestlers are trying to get to, and the fact if they do lose, it's a rebuilding process. And as you've mentioned so correctly, Lucy, some people might be wallowing in defeat, other people are strongly motivated by it. So we'll see where Chantel Jordan goes from there. Certainly TK Cooper, it's not going to be an easy task for her. It is, as mentioned at the top, headbutt versus head kick. We will see which one will be stronger. But again, another fantastic match for May the 15th in Margate. And so with that, we are actually going to be going through all of the fantastic matches for May the 15th in Margate. Lucy, shall we do a little bit of a predictions battle to see how we do? I don't know what we can put on the line. I don't know if kind of like I've got no pride anyway, so I don't know if I can put that on the line, but we'll say pride.
Well,
anyway.
I was famous in the Lancaster Lancaster University Pro Wrestling Society for never winning the predictions contests that we used to do for pay-per-views. But you know what? Enthusiasm. I've still got enthusiasm. So let's do this. Predictions contest.
Let's do it. Let's do it for the love of the game, for the love of pro wrestling. Let us make some predictions. So the first match that we will be predicting will be Angel Hayes versus Riley Nova versus Tyler Owens. Of course, for Tyler and Angel, the last medallion in their grasp. For Riley Nova, a chance to impress his mentor and the underground champion, Joseph Connors. Lucy, we'll start with you. Okay. I'll let you go for the first one. So please make a prediction and see how we go from there.
Okay, I think that Riley Nova's going to win this one. Just putting it out there, straight up. The reason being, we know that Joseph Connors is going to be there, right? I feel like with him in his corner, there's nothing that Riley Nova can't do. I'm not saying that he's going to get involved. Maybe he won't even be ringside, but he'll certainly be watching the match. And I feel like that level of pressure will just make Riley Nova unstoppable. I also think that the advice from Joseph Connors is going to be invaluable. And, you know, he is the underground champion, so clearly he knows what it takes. I'm sure he's going to pass that on to Riley Nova.
I think that's
look at this.
Look at this. That's truly. Nice. Now figures, now there's tangible stakes now. Now that we've got a graphic for it.
It's official in writing.
I feel as though we're going to need to kind of keep score after this on the Carve series. I feel as though by the time we get to a finale of Unpacked, one of us will need to do some sort of like, I don't know, kind of there needs to be a trophy. We need to get a trophy of some kind.
A championship belt.
No, that's even better. Old librarian, hell yes. Ice cream for the victor.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
Good ice cream as well.
We'll need to send Spinebuster management our favorite ice cream flavors, and whoever kind of wins it by the end will get their ice cream. And obviously, while we're here as well, it's not just as much as we would love it to be just about us. It is, of course, everyone here involved as well. So please, if you are watching in the chat, please put down your predictions as well for each match. Again, we would love to hear from you. So obviously, Lucy has put down Riley Nova. I am going to say Angel Hayes. Now, Angel, as we have mentioned before, we've literally just talked about it. Some wrestlers, when they get up to a certain level in the grind, when they lose and fall all the way back down, they either wallow or they're more determined than ever. Angel Hayes has been so determined recently. I think we've seen an even more vicious side of Angel Hayes, which I didn't think was actually possible to do. But particularly in her match against Harley Hudson, where Angel was no nonsense, she was just absolutely laser focused on defeating Hudson to get her medallion. And now she's at a stage where this is the second time round she's on 2 medallions.
Yeah.
And if I know Angel's mindset, I feel as though she's not going to lose 2 medallions a second time. So I am going to be saying Angel Hayes for this time round.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, very, very good points made. I think with every single match on this show, it's hard to call, and it really is. Could go either way in all these matches, but yeah, we've got to make a prediction.
We've got to make a prediction. I've got a white chocolate Ferrero Rocher ice cream bar on the line for me, raring to go. So let us see what else. Let's see if we've got any predictions here. Oh, Lucy, you and the old librarian are sharing
Old
the same
librarian
thought.
knows. He knows what's up.
So that is Riley Nova in hot contention for the win in that triple threat match. Let us move on to the match we announced this episode. Shah Samuels versus Connor Mills. I will take on proceedings first. I am going to say with this big announcement, I was umming and ahhing, obviously, with this open challenge. As we've mentioned, Lucy, before, it could have been anyone. It could have been someone that we saw before in the grind. It could have been an absolute new person who we've never seen before. And as soon as Connor Mills' name came up, as much as I respect and admire Shah Samuels and I respect his views on people who snitch for the greater good, might I add, I am going to be saying Connor Mills in this one. Everyone is probably aware of the credibility and the talent of Connor Mills, whether it's in Progress, whether it's in Rev Pro, whether it's in Riot Cabaret. Connor Mills is an exceptionally, and I don't use this word too lightly, he is a very dangerous individual. When he is focused, when he is on target, and I'm not going to lie, he is focused and on target 99.5% of the time, he can put the best of wrestlers down. And I know it's a cliche to say, whether it's experience versus kind of like pedigree in this one, I feel as though Connor Mills, both men have the capacity to, you know, be that kind of dangerous, that kind of like remorseless, you know, edge to them. I feel as though Connor Mills just about has that. So for me, I'm going to go with my fellow Connor, add an N, Connor Mills.
Yeah, I think what old librarians just said, Mills to win, because like a naughty puppy, I can't see Joey will find a way to slip out of his grounding and help. I thought the same thing until we just heard from Shah Samuels earlier, and he said that he's been in contact with Joey's mum, and he's not allowed in Margate, so he's not going to be there. So that's made me change my mind. I think that Shah Samuels is going to win this because I listened to him earlier and he sounded so determined that I just can't possibly doubt him after everything he said. You know, he said he didn't feel any sort of pressure, and he's so riled up about what happened with Joey that I feel like, yeah, you said that Connor Mills is dangerous. Absolutely he is, but I think that Shah Samuels is too. So I think that Shah Samuels has got this one in the bag. He doesn't feel the pressure from the time limit. I think he's going to get it done in the 10 minutes.
It's a big match for Shah Samuels, potentially 2 medallions on the line for him. And as we've mentioned before, there are an elite number of people with 2 medallions. So that would put him in good company to be reaching for that championship shot against Joseph Connors. This next match, we've talked about it last week, and it's going to be a banger. We use the term meat so much, but truly, whether it's meat, whether it's protein, whether it's a nice vegetable starchy substitute, it is, of course, Jay Joshua versus Brett Semtex. This match is going to be an absolute. I mean, like Lucy, I'm scared for us, and we're not even in the ring. We'll probably be catched in the splash zone.
Yeah, we better move out the way.
We better move out of the way. And you better come to Margate to see these two absolutely knock the 7 bells out of each other. Lucy, I'm going to throw it back to you. Who have you got?
I've got Jay Joshua in this one. You know, he's had. I talk about it until I'm blue in the face because I love it. That incredible Iron Person match with Chantel Jordan, incredible showing against Connors and McKenzie for the championship. He's completed the grind, so I think he can do it again. I think he's got more experience here than Brett Semtex that might give him a little bit of an edge, and I think it's going to be a really close battle. But I can't doubt sicker than your average Jay Joshua.
That is, you know what? That is a completely respectable and understandable choice, Lucy. And I am going to go for Brett Semtex in
But you
response
disagree.
to that. But I respectfully disagree. Now, Brett Semtex, I think, is just, we've talked about it before. Not every man can literally pull open a shutter. Not every man can hold Millie McKenzie aloft in a stalling suplex for literally what was kind of like close to a minute.
Yeah.
Brett Semtex is no ordinary wrestler. He is someone who I think will be absolutely wanting to get back on the board. And as the old librarian said, the real winner is the crowd, because these two, when they first collide, I'm expecting some sort of seismic force to kind of happen within the ring. And I feel as though with Brett Semtex, obviously that loss against Millie McKenzie, it was a technical loss for sure. And with all due to respect to Millie McKenzie, she did catch him somewhat unaware. It was a definitive victory, but I wouldn't say it was a strong victory. And I feel as though that if anyone could put Brett Semtex down, it will be Jay Joshua. But I feel as though Brett Semtex is going to be too angry to die in this match and wanting to prove a point to not just the crowd, but